There comes a moment, quiet, almost invisible, when a person decides to stop existing and start living. Not surviving. Not maintaining. Living. In pursuit of something greater. Something burning. Something inevitable. This moment is not marked by fanfare. It is not announced by a trumpet's call or the world's applause. It is silent. It is internal. And it is the birth of greatness, because success is not random. Success is not a gift from the skies. It is not won in a lottery or discovered like buried treasure. Success is a formula. And once you understand it, once you commit to live by it, not dabble in it, not flirt with it, but embody it, then the world begins to bend in your favor. But let us be clear, this formula is not for the faint of heart. It demands sacrifice before it rewards comfort. It demands clarity before it grants abundance. And above all, it demands that you become someone new. Someone worthy of the life you say you want. Look at the world around you. It rewards not the most talented, but the most determined. Not the ones who wait for permission, but the ones who write their own rules. Henry Ford was laughed at. They told him, if the people wanted faster transportation, they'd ask for a faster horse. But Ford saw the future not as it was, but as it could be. That is the first law of the formula, vision over convention. The world will always offer you mediocrity. It will serve it on a platter and call it realistic. But if you ever want to taste the feast of abundance, you must reject the crumbs of average. You must walk away from the table of the timid and build your own. Vision is the seed. But vision alone is not enough. How many dreamers live their lives with heads full of gold and hands full of nothing? The second law is clarity in chaos. To know exactly what you want, not just vaguely, not just someday, but with razor precision. Clarity carves the path through the noise. It separates the wishers from the doers, the talkers from the builders. Andrew Carnegie did not hope to become wealthy. He decided. And once he decided, every thought, every step, every breath was aligned with that decision. The formula begins to work the moment your mind and your mission become one. But clarity has a price. Distraction must die. Distraction is the enemy of destiny. Every notification, every temptation, every meaningless scroll, these are the termites in the foundation of your potential. You must starve your distractions and feed your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Once clarity is established, the third law emerges, belief without compromise. Understand this, before the world will ever believe in you, you must become the architect of your own belief. No one believed in Walt Disney. He was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. Imagine that. A man who would go on to create entire worlds was told he wasn't creative enough, but belief is not a luxury. It is fuel. And every empire you admire, from Edison's light to Jobs' Apple, was first built on belief. Belief is the soil in which all action grows. Without it, nothing survives. With it, nothing is impossible, and yet belief, too, is not enough. The formula continues. Because belief must be backed by discipline. Rigid. Ruthless. Relentless. Discipline is doing what you said you would do long after the feeling you said it in has faded. It is waking up when the bed begs you to stay. It is working when the world plays. It is training when no one is watching. It is choosing what you want most over what you want now. Do you think Abraham Lincoln wanted to fail in 8 elections before becoming president? Do you think Thomas Edison wanted 10,000 failed prototypes before he lit the world? No. But they chose the pain of discipline over the agony of regret. The masses chase motivation. The few master discipline. One fades. The other forges. If success is a formula, then discipline is its backbone, and from this backbone, we arrive at the next law: massive, decisive, fearless action. Ideas mean nothing without movement. Motion beats meditation. Action cures fear. It doesn't matter how small the step, what matters is momentum. You don't wait for the path to be clear. You walk into the fog and create the road as you go. The Wright brothers didn't have a blueprint for flight. They had grit. They had resolve. And they had the audacity to act when everyone else just imagined. Action is the difference between a dream and a result. Between potential and power. The world pays for outcomes, not intentions. It rewards the builders, not the theorists, but make no mistake, action without alignment is chaos. You must align your actions with your definiteness of purpose. This is the magnetic force behind every decision, every sacrifice, every ounce of sweat. Purpose is what makes the struggle sacred. Without it, you will burn out. With it, you will burn brighter. Napoleon Hill called this definiteness of purpose the starting point of all achievement. And he was right. Because without a purpose greater than your pain, you will quit when the fire comes. And the fire will come, but here's the secret: you were made for the fire. You were forged for it. Every challenge, every failure, every sleepless night, it is not punishment. It is preparation. It is refining your edge. It is shaping your character to match your calling, and when you learn to embrace the fire, when you stop resisting the pressure and start rising through it, you awaken another law of the formula: resilience. Resilience is the decision to rise again and again and again. It is refusing to surrender to the opinions of others, to the weight of the past, to the temptation of ease. It is saying, I will not bow to circumstance. I will become the force that shapes it. Every story of greatness is a story of setbacks. It is not the absence of failure that defines the successful. It is the mastery of recovery. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter found a home. 12 closed doors. 12 no's from the world. But she only needed one yes. And to get it, she had to keep standing. That's resilience, not a trait, but a decision. A daily decision to keep walking through storms with a torch in your hand, because the world doesn't bend for the one who waits, it yields for the one who persists, and that persistence must be guided by the next law: adaptability. The formula of success is not static, it breathes, it evolves, it demands adjustment. Rigid minds break. Flexible minds build. It is not the strongest who survive, but the most adaptable. When Napoleon Bonaparte faced crushing odds, he changed his tactics quickly, boldly, without ego. When Elon Musk faced near bankruptcy with SpaceX, he didn't give up, he pivoted, restructured, reinvested. Those who win are those who adjust. Life will not unfold according to your perfect plan. That's not failure, that's feedback. Feedback is information. It is data. It is the world whispering, try A, but most people never hear that whisper. Because they're too busy yelling at the storm. You must listen. You must that's the next law. A mind that learns is a mind that earns. The second you stop learning, you start losing. Read. Study. Observe. Ask. Become obsessed with acquiring knowledge the way most people obsess over entertainment. Because what you feed your mind determines the ceiling of your future. The wealthiest people in the world are obsessive learners. Warren Buffett reads 6 hours a day. Bill Gates takes weeks in isolation just to study. They know something the average person doesn't, that success is not an event. It is not a moment. It is an accumulation of invisible investments made every single day. And one of the greatest investments you can make is in your environment. You cannot plant the seeds of greatness in toxic soil. You must audit your surroundings. Ruthlessly. Because proximity is power, your circle is either sharpening you or dulling you, uplifting you or draining you. There is no neutral. If you spend time with people who blame, complain, or remain, you will start to echo their frequency. And their frequency is not tuned to abundance. Andrew Carnegie once said he owed everything to his mastermind, a circle of men committed to higher thinking, higher standards, and higher results. You need that circle. And if you don't have it, you must build it, but even the right environment won't save you if your inner world is toxic. That's why the formula demands self-mastery. The ability to command your mind, to control your emotions, to direct your energy. You are not your thoughts. You are not your feelings. You are the captain of those forces. And a captain never lets the storm steer the ship. Your thoughts are not always facts. Your fear is not prophecy. Your doubt is not destiny. They are just weather systems, temporary, passing, changeable. And when you learn to observe them instead of obey them, you gain power, because the formula is not just about external achievement. It is about internal alignment. You must become the person who can hold the success you seek. Not just chase it, not just taste it, hold it. Sustain it. Multiply it. That requires character. Integrity. Grit. That requires you to live in a way most won't, so you can experience what most never will. And once you do, once you become the formula, everything changes. But let's not forget one of the most overlooked laws: gratitude, not the soft kind. Not the fluffy kind. The real kind, rooted in awareness. Because if you cannot appreciate what you have, you are not ready for more. Gratitude is the soil of abundance. It is not passive, it is a powerful force that rewires your brain for opportunity. When you live in gratitude, you stop seeing lack and start seeing leverage. You stop seeing problems and start seeing pathways. Thomas Edison was grateful for every failed experiment because each one brought him closer to the light. Oprah Winfrey credits gratitude for turning a life of poverty and trauma into an empire of influence. Gratitude elevates you. And more importantly, it centers you, because when storms rage, when pressure builds, when plans collapse, gratitude is the anchor. It reminds you that you are not your results, not your revenue, not your reputation. You are a force greater than circumstance. You are the creator of your world, and creators don't wait for permission. They don't wait for the stars to align. They move, they act, they build, they burn with a purpose that cannot be dimmed. You see, action is the hinge of the entire formula. All the vision, all the mindset, all the belief in the world means nothing if it doesn't move through your hands, through your breath, through the sweat on your back. The world does not reward the dreamer. It rewards the builder. There are people right now with half your talent, half your intelligence, half your resources who are living your dream. Not because they're more deserving, but because they didn't wait. Action is the great separator. It is the bridge between the life you imagine and the life you live. It's not always pretty. It's not always perfect. But it's real. And real is where results grow. You want wealth? Then start working like you deserve it. You want freedom? Then start fighting for it. You want to change the direction of your life? Then move your feet, move your thoughts, move your energy. Stop romanticizing the perfect moment. It's not coming. There is no magic hour, no ideal day. There's only now. And now is the most powerful tool you have if you use it. You think Henry Ford waited until the economy was right? Until the critics disappeared? Until his factory was flawless? No, he acted. Relentlessly. While they laughed, he built. While they doubted, he drove. And by the time the world caught up, he had already changed it. The same is true for you, but let's be clear, sustained action does not mean mindless hustle. It means intentional movement. Aligned execution. It means not just being busy, but being productive. Focused. Strategic. That's where the next law comes in: clarity. Without clarity, your energy is scattered. You chase too many things. You confuse motion with progress. But with clarity, you become dangerous. When you know exactly what you want, why you want it, and who you must become to get it, there is no resistance too heavy, no doubt too loud. Clarity is a sword. It cuts through distractions. It silences noise. It makes your yes powerful and your no sacred. It doesn't matter how fast you're running if you're going in the wrong direction. So stop. Breathe. Decide. Define the life you are building. Define it in detail. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Who do you need beside you? What does a successful day actually mean to you? Write it. Declare it. Own it, because once your vision is clear, the mind obeys. The body follows. The world responds, and when that clarity is backed by discipline, you become unstoppable. Discipline is the great equalizer, the separator of amateurs and masters. The reason why one man watches the sunrise while the other man becomes it. You think greatness feels good every day? It doesn't. It often feels like loneliness, like repetition, like sacrifice. But discipline doesn't wait for motivation, it creates it. When Kobe Bryant was asked why he trained at 4 a.m., he said, "Because while they sleep, I gain an edge." Not because he had to. Because he chose to. That's discipline. That's deciding who you are and living it when it's cold, when it's boring, when no one's watching. Discipline is the declaration that you will not be average. That you will not settle for mediocrity. That your time, your energy, your breath, they mean something, but even discipline requires one final element to sustain the formula: faith. Not blind faith. Not naive optimism. But unyielding belief in the unseen, in the process, in the purpose, in the becoming. Faith is the gasoline of the soul. It's what keeps the fire alive when the results haven't yet arrived. You must believe before the world believes in you. That's what Walt Disney did when he was fired for lacking imagination. What Abraham Lincoln did after losing multiple elections. What every titan of industry, every master of destiny has done. They carried belief through deserts, through silence, through humiliation, until their results became louder than their rejections, because success is not a formula of circumstance, it is a formula of conscious creation, thought, word, and action, aligned with unbreakable conviction. A formula you must not just learn, but live, every single day, until it becomes who you are, until your name becomes a symbol, not of luck, not of chance, but of cause, because that is the true definition of wealth. Not just money, not just status, but the ability to live in full expression of your power. The ability to shape your days and define your destiny. The freedom to become the fire, not wait for it, and when you live that way, when you become a living, breathing formula of abundance, nothing can stop you, not fear, not failure, not time, not even death, because your legacy begins the moment you decide to rise. Let's speak now of purpose, the unshakable why that drives the engine of all achievement. Purpose is not a vague idea you stumble into. It's a fire you build, with intention, with courage, and with pain. And if you never take the time to discover it, you'll spend your life chasing applause but never peace. Success, without purpose, becomes a prison disguised as a palace, but when you align your goals with your true purpose, not the one society handed you, not the one your fears agreed to, but the one etched into your soul, you become a force of nature. Your purpose is the compass. It doesn't always point to comfort, but it always points to truth. And truth is where your power lives. Ask Carnegie why he built an empire. Ask him why he devoted his fortune to knowledge. It wasn't greed. It was mission. He saw the power of ideas. The fire of education. The ripple of one mind awakened, and you, what is your mission? Who suffers when you stay small? Who gets lifted when you rise? Because purpose is rarely about you alone. It's about service. Impact. Legacy. When you find your purpose, mediocrity becomes painful. Distraction becomes intolerable. Every day without alignment feels like a betrayal, but finding your purpose doesn't require some thunderous revelation. It begins with listening to your intuition, to your curiosity, to your discontent. The things that bother you. The things that light you up, they're speaking, and when you commit to purpose, you naturally attract the next piece of the formula, resilience. Because purpose makes pain worth it, you will fall. That's a guarantee. You will fail, doubt, suffer. That's not pessimism, that's math. But if your foundation is purpose, you won't stay down. Because you won't just be working for a paycheck, or approval, or convenience, you'll be fighting for meaning. Resilience is not toughness. It's not some hard shell that ignores pain. It's the decision to keep showing up with open hands and steady breath despite the pain. Abraham Lincoln failed in business, lost elections, battled depression. But he carried a vision bigger than himself. And that vision outlasted every fall. Resilience is built in silence. In the mornings you don't want to rise. In the rejections that sting. In the years no one claps. That's where the giants are forged. Not in stadiums. But in solitude. You don't build a legend by skipping the struggle, you earn it. In the furnace of persistence. And that furnace only burns clean when it's fueled by belief. So now we arrive at perhaps the most underestimated element of the success formula: gratitude. Gratitude is not weakness. It's not passivity. It's amplification. It's what transforms scarcity into abundance, not after success, but on the way to it. You cannot attract wealth from a state of lack. You cannot become powerful while whispering to the world that you are broken. Gratitude rewires the mind. It teaches the nervous system to recognize progress, not just perfection. Gratitude is a frequency. And when you tune into it, you begin to notice more opportunity. More alignment. More of what you want because your brain stops filtering the world through fear. Thomas Edison once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is gratitude in motion. Seeing the lesson, the gift, the raw material in every setback. You want to accelerate your growth? Start giving thanks for your challenges. For your doubts. For the days that humbled you. They are teachers, not threats. Gratitude is not just a mindset, it's a magnet. It says to the universe, "I see the good. I am ready for more." And that magnet only becomes stronger when paired with the next sacred element, learning, because knowledge is the lever. But applied knowledge? That is the lever tied to destiny. You were not born to repeat cycles. You were not built to regurgitate information. You were designed to evolve. To consume wisdom, to question it, to test it in the furnace of your own life, and then emerge with understanding that becomes power. Every successful person, every one of them, is a voracious learner. They read. They study. They listen. Not just to find answers, but to sharpen their thinking. They do not fear being wrong, they fear staying stagnant. Napoleon Hill spent 25 years interviewing the wealthiest minds of his time, not just to admire them, but to decode them. And what did he find? They all shared this: they were students of life. Open, hungry, disciplined learners. They sought mastery, not comfort. So the question is, are you learning like your future depends on it? Because it does. Every book you skip, every mentor you ignore, every lesson you resist, is a bridge unbuilt. But every insight you apply, every time you turn theory into action, you are etching the formula deeper into your reality. That's why success is never an accident, it is the result of mind, spirit, and action aligned, disciplined, and lit by purpose. It is a formula. One you must live, one you must protect, one you must honor. And now, we arrive at the inflection point. The turning moment in every life where discipline either becomes your weapon or your weakness. Let's be clear, without discipline, every goal becomes fantasy. Every plan disintegrates under pressure. Every dream withers in the face of delay. Discipline is the invisible architect of greatness. It's not loud. It doesn't seek recognition. But it shapes every empire, every legacy, every giant who has ever risen from the ashes of failure to the summit of fortune. Think of Henry Ford. He didn't invent the automobile, but he brought it to the people. And how? Not through genius alone, but relentless execution. Through the daily repetition of effort. Through the boring, unsexy, brutal commitment to refinement. Discipline is what bridges the gap between vision and reality. You can visualize all day. You can dream in high definition. But if you don't move, if you don't act, the universe has nothing to multiply. Discipline is not about pushing yourself when it's easy, it's about showing up when you're tired, uninspired, and unrecognized. It's writing the page no one will read yet. Making the call no one expects. Practicing the skill that still feels foreign. It's the daily defiance of comfort in service of your cause, and the secret, discipline compounds. One workout turns into strength. One saved dollar turns into wealth. One page turns into a book. One post turns into a movement. One day of focus turns into a life of impact. But here's what they won't tell you: discipline is not about restriction. It's about liberation. When you master yourself, nothing else owns you, not your cravings, not your distractions, not your doubts. You become sovereign. And from that sovereignty flows the next force in the formula: decisive action, because all the clarity, all the belief, all the vision in the world is useless if you never pull the trigger. Too many wait. They wait for confidence. They wait for timing. They wait for signs from the universe or permission from the world. But successful people? They act. They don't wait for the perfect time. They make the time perfect by acting in it. They don't fear the unknown. They step into it. Again and again and again, because action creates feedback. Feedback creates correction. Correction creates precision. And precision creates results. Abundance doesn't belong to the thinker. It belongs to the mover. Every billionaire, every leader, every outlier you admire, they made moves when others hesitated. They launched before they felt ready. They tried. They failed. They adjusted. And they moved again. Let me ask you something. How many ideas have you buried because fear dressed itself up as logic? How many times have you convinced yourself it wasn't the right time, when it was actually just a lack of courage? You don't need another opinion. You need movement. Start the business. Launch the channel. Make the call. Pitch the investor. Write the book. Change the habit. Burn the bridge behind you if it's keeping you average, because clarity doesn't come from thinking, it comes from doing. And every action taken in the direction of your vision builds something more than results. It builds momentum. Momentum is the invisible jet stream of success. It's when each effort builds upon the last. When every small win stacks. When the compound interest of discipline, purpose, belief, and action creates a force that begins to work for you even when you sleep. But beware, momentum can work in reverse. If you feed fear, you build doubt. If you feed laziness, you build regret. If you feed distraction, you build a life of noise without signal. Every day, you are building something consciously or by default. So what are you building? Are your habits writing your legacy? Or erasing it? Are your thoughts crafting your future? Or repeating your past? Are your decisions expanding your capacity? Or betraying your calling? You cannot escape the responsibility of creation. You are always creating something. The question is, are you creating on purpose? That's where the next principle strikes like lightning. Clarity. Clarity is not a gift. It is earned. It is forged through self-inquiry, through trial and error, through standing still in the storm of uncertainty until the truth becomes undeniable. Most people don't lack talent. They lack clarity, so they drift. They run fast. In the wrong direction. They work hard. On goals that aren't even theirs. They chase what's trending, not what's true. But you were born with an internal compass. And every time you sit still, every time you silence the world and listen inward, that compass speaks. It tells you what excites you, what haunts you, what calls you to rise. And when you act from clarity, you move faster, not because of adrenaline, but because there is no friction. Doubt fades. Comparison evaporates. Focus sharpens. Clarity is the secret edge. The silent multiplier, the one who knows what they want truly, is unstoppable. But clarity comes to those who dare to decide. Who don't wait for lightning, but who dig for truth. So decide what matters. Decide who you are. Decide what price you are willing to pay for greatness, and then pay it, because once the decision is made, once the fog clears, life begins to bend to your will. The world steps aside for the man or woman who knows where they are going, and when you carry the fire of clarity, fueled by action and discipline, there is one more force that transforms you from a fleeting spark into an unstoppable inferno: resilience. You see, the road to greatness is not paved in gold. It's paved in pressure, in setbacks, in the daily grind of becoming more than you were yesterday. Every dream tests your capacity to endure. Every mountain worth climbing demands that you bleed for the summit. Do you think Edison discovered the light bulb on his first try? No. He failed over 10,000 times. 10,000 sparks that didn't ignite. 10,000 dead ends. But each failure wasn't a stop sign, it was feedback. And with each one, he got closer. When the world said give up, he said not yet. That is resilience. It is not blind optimism. It is not delusion. It is the will to continue. When every part of you screams to retreat, you will be doubted. You will be ignored. You will be laughed at, underestimated, even betrayed. But if you are anchored to a vision that is real to you, if you are living in alignment with something bigger than the fear, then no storm can take you under. Resilience means standing back up when no one is watching. It means building in silence. It means pushing forward without applause, without permission, without perfect conditions, because resilience isn't just about surviving, it's about refining. Every fall teaches you where to tighten your footing. Every rejection reveals the cracks in your character. Every delay demands deeper patience, sharper strategy, greater faith, and the longer you stay in the fire without backing down, the more unrecognizable you become to your former self. That's what success is. Not a destination. A transformation, a constant unfolding of who you could be, if you were brave enough to burn who you used to be, and when resilience becomes your reflex, when you no longer need ideal circumstances to give your best, then you step into a state that very few reach. It's the state of adaptability, because life will not hand you clean blueprints. It will not come with perfect plans. Your vision will be tested. Your map will burn. The thing you were building might collapse, and still, you must build again. The greats are not the ones with the best ideas. They are the ones who adapt the fastest. They don't get stuck in the past. They pivot. They evolve. They listen to reality and reinvent the strategy. Walt Disney lost his first animation studio. He was broke, betrayed, rejected by dozens of banks. And still, he adjusted. Still, he expanded, until what was once a mouse on a page became a worldwide empire. You must learn to bend without breaking. To let go of the old in service of the new. Because clinging to what worked yesterday can destroy what wants to be born tomorrow. Adaptability isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's awareness that your outcome matters more than your ego, and when you embrace that truth, you tap into the rarest kind of intelligence, creative resilience. You become the kind of person who doesn't panic when plans fall apart. You rebuild. You respond. You reclaim control, and you move, because the formula does not ask for perfection. It asks for persistence. It asks for you to stay in the game long enough to learn what most people give up on too early. And here's the most overlooked truth of all. To truly unlock this formula, to make success sustainable, you must weave it with one more thread: gratitude. Yes, gratitude. Not the soft, surface-level kind, but the kind that grounds you in truth. The kind that humbles you in your ambition. The kind that reminds you, even in the climb, you are already standing on gold. Because without gratitude, ambition turns toxic. You begin chasing from lack. You begin seeking to prove instead of build. You start comparing instead of creating, but gratitude dissolves the poison. It centers you. It keeps your hunger from becoming desperation. It reminds you that the journey is the reward, not just the trophy. Be grateful not just when you win, but when you're being forged. Be grateful for the lessons, for the resistance, for the struggle that sharpens your strength. Be grateful for the fire, it's making you indestructible. Carnegie, Hill, Jobs, Oprah, all of them, in their own way, understood this. That to build something meaningful, you must move from both intensity and intention. You must carry the fire, but stay rooted in appreciation, because the man who is grateful for little will be entrusted with more. The woman who sees abundance even in scarcity will magnetize miracles. You do not attract success by demanding it, you attract it by embodying it. By becoming the kind of person who would be worthy of the destiny you envision, by learning the formula. And then living it, not just once. Not just when it's convenient. But as your code. Every thought. Every step. Every act in alignment with who you are becoming. This is not motivation. This is reconstruction. This is not hype. This is your awakening, and it's only just begun. You are not here to blend in, you are not here to repeat history, you are here to bend reality, to take what is and reshape it into what could be, but to do that, you must rise into the final element of this formula, learning, endless, relentless, unshakable learning. The moment you believe you know enough, you lose. Because the game is always changing. The rules evolve. The players adapt. The terrain shifts, and if you are not learning, you are leaving the table. Every master was once a student. Every legend began with ignorance. The difference is, they never stopped studying. Lincoln read by candlelight, borrowing books from neighbors, self-educating because no one handed him the privilege. Ford built engines with his hands, dismantling machines in the middle of the night just to understand how they worked. Hill spent 20 years interviewing millionaires, decoding their minds like a detective solving a puzzle that the rest of the world was too distracted to see. They knew that ignorance was not the enemy, stagnation was, that humility is the gateway to mastery, and so they kept asking questions. Kept seeking truth. Kept refining the blueprint, because the formula for success is not carved in stone, it's written in motion. In evolution. In the willingness to be wrong today so you can be right tomorrow. And this learning, this hunger for truth, it sharpens your instincts. It sharpens your language. It sharpens your vision, it makes you a force, because when you know why something works, you can rebuild it. Improve it. Scale it. Transfer it to others. You don't just have success, you understand it, you can teach it. Replicate it. Multiply it, that's the mark of true wealth. Not just accumulation, but creation. And that is what the world needs from you, not just to be rich. Not just to be seen. But to become someone who raises the tide for others. Someone who turns success into a service. Because once you learn the formula, once you embody it, once it becomes your second nature, it's no longer about you, it becomes your responsibility to build something that outlives you, to teach. To elevate. To pour back into the soil that raised you, and that, above all, is the final transformation. The moment you realize that your success is not just a reward, it is a call to lead, it is the evidence that you've walked through the fire, mapped the terrain, and now you are equipped to light the path for someone else. That is legacy, and legacy is not built in one day. It's built in every day. In every choice you make when no one's watching, in every time you show up when it's inconvenient. Every time you speak truth when it's unpopular, every time you push forward when retreat would be easier. Legacy is built through living the formula, not once, not twice, but for the rest of your life, because success is not a switch you flip. It's a rhythm. A discipline. A way of being, and once you understand that, really understand it, you realize there is no arrival. There is only expansion. You don't hit the summit and rest. You build higher peaks. You teach others how to climb. You invest your wealth not just in markets, but in people. You become the architect of something bigger than yourself, and here, in this final revelation, the formula becomes complete. Vision. Belief. Clarity. Discipline. Action. Resilience. Adaptability. Gratitude. Learning. Legacy, each one interlocked with the others. Each one a vital gear in the machine. Each one waiting for you to activate it through consistent, relentless, intentional living, not someday. Not when it's convenient. But now, because every second you delay, your future is slipping through your fingers, but every second you commit with fire, with faith, with focus, the future bends toward you. The formula is real, the path is waiting, and everything you need is already inside you, so rise, step forward, and don't just learn the formula, live it. The world will try to convince you that greatness is a lottery ticket, that only a chosen few get to win, that luck, privilege, timing, these are the gods that determine who rises and who doesn't. But you know better now, you've walked the path. You've seen the blueprint. You've heard the voice inside you whisper, there's more. Because you weren't born to be one of the forgotten, you weren't born to play the background, you were born to lead. To rise. To redefine what's possible, and not because you're better than anyone else, but because you decided. You decided that your past would not be your prison, that your fears would not be your master, that your doubts would not be your identity. You chose to believe, and belief is the birthplace of every miracle. Let the world scoff. Let them mock. Let them call you delusional, unrealistic, obsessed. They laughed at Edison when he failed 1,000 times. They doubted Oprah when she was told she didn't have the right look or voice for television. They told Walt Disney he lacked imagination. They fired Steve Jobs from the company he built. They ignored Hill, mocked his obsession with success philosophy. But they kept going. They lived the formula, and because they did, the world changed. So now it's your turn. This is not a rehearsal. This is your one life. This moment right now is a fork in the road. One path leads to mediocrity, to comfort, to safety. The other leads to fire, to pain, to sacrifice, to lonely nights and quiet victories, but also to transcendence, to waking up one day and realizing you became the person you used to dream about. The formula is not easy, but it is exact. It is unforgiving to the lazy, but it is loyal to the committed. Every action you take in alignment with the formula, no matter how small, compounds. Every disciplined choice, every hard decision, every time you show up when it would be easier not to, it builds interest. Invisible. Accumulating, until one day the world sees what you've known all along, that you are not average, you were never meant to be, you are the result of centuries of ambition. You are the dream of your ancestors. The proof of what's possible. The seed of a future no one's even imagined yet, and your job now is simple: protect the vision, live the discipline, honor the process, and pass the formula on, because there will come a time, sooner than you think, when someone looks at you and asks, "How did you do it?" And you will tell them, not with ego, not with pride, but with reverence, that success is not a mystery, it is a formula. Learn it, live it. And let the world be changed because you existed.